चले कहाँ तुम विनती करी तेरी, पाँव पड़े तोरे कितना मनाया फिर भी नहीं सुनी रे, छोड़ के कहाँ चले रे। घिरत रात अंधेरा डरावे, लोहित मोहे रुलावे, पंछी अकेला सुना है बसेरा, बाट तकत तुरे आवन की, छोड़ के कहाँ चले।
The mysterious, magical and mystical state of Arunachal Pradesh is one of the largest states in northeastern India and has an area of about 83,743 square kilometers and is home to at least 26 major indigenous tribes. Bandadeva is the entry point to Eta Nagar, the capital of Arunachal Pradesh. Our unit discovered the intriguing traditions of ancient lifestyles lived out against one of the most diverse ecological settings in the country. We try to uncover the myths and legends of this land and its people. We marvel at its cultural and religious wealth and antiquity. The stunning combination of its haunting beauty, the treasure house of exotic flora and fauna, and its rich tribal heritage makes Arunachal Pradesh a fascinating journey for discerning travelers like us. Scholars and anthropologists have divided the Arunachal Pradesh tribes into three broad groups on the basis of their art and cultural patterns. Their headgear, hairstyle, and in some cases, even the Daos distinguish them from one another. The first group comprises of the Bordick Tribes like the Monpas, Shertukpens, Membas, Khambas, Khamtis, and Sengpos. The speciality of this group is the skills of wood carving and painting. The second group includes the Adis, Apatani, Tagans, Mishimis, Tangshas, Mijus, Sulangs, Nishis, and the hill Meris. And then comes the third group, which comprises of the Nokte and Wanchu tribes that inhabit the Tirap and Changlang districts. They are also wonderful craftsmen, but their style and motives are totally different from the previous two. While the typical tribal house in the interior and upper mountainous areas of Arunachal Pradesh are built exclusively with bamboo, cane, and timber, those closer to the plains often have concrete pillars to support the bamboo or timber platform floors. The interior of any traditional tribal house will invariably have the hearth or fireplace at the center of the main hall or living room. Preserving foodstuff by placing them above the hearth is typical of any Arunachali tribal family, while almost every member of the family is an expert when it comes to weaving bamboo and cane baskets and other items of daily use. The common thread that runs through these tribes is the unique quality of weaving cane and bamboo handicraft. Similarly, the fabrics they weave also differ from tribe to tribe, with the colorful dresses often becoming the basic identification mark of different tribes. While the designs are simple, they are mostly geometrical in shape, and the most common motifs are zigzag, diamond-shaped, triangular, or even simple cross marks. Each tribe here has its own favorite or dominating color and color combination. The colors are always bright and used in sharp contrast with one another. This gives a three-dimensional effect to the fabric. Generally, the borders of skirts and shawls used by women are horizontal, but the coats and jackets have vertical borders, while the Adi and Apatani tribals concentrate mostly on simple straight lines and stripes. The Mishimis have elaborate motifs. We are on our way to Itanagar, the capital of Arunachal Pradesh, which is hardly half an hour's drive from the gate at Bandadewa. Situated in the heart of Papum Pares district, Itanagar is a new township that has sprung up after the reorganization of the northeastern region in 1972. Till then, this territory was known as the Northeast Frontier Agency, or NEFA, and was directly administered by the Ministry of External Affairs. It was only during the reorganization of the northeastern region that Northeast Frontier Agency, or NEFA, was renamed as Arunachal Pradesh and was given the status as a union territory. It was in February 1987 that the Union Territory was further upgraded and made a full-fledged state of the Indian Union. And though established only as late as 1984, Itanagar is today a bustling township with people from all over the largest state of the Northeast pouring into the state capital for various purposes. Itanagar, however, has actually sprung up in the ruins of the ancient Eta Fort, a brick fort, which is one of the 5 such forts in the entire state. Archaeologists believe the Eta Fort was built some 600 years ago. According to some historians, the Eta Fort was built by a king called Ramchandra, who had his original capital at Majuli, the famous island in the heart of the Brahmaputra. This fort may not stand any comparison to the various contemporary forts built elsewhere in the subcontinent, but it definitely follows the classical Sanskrit texts on fort architecture belonging to ancient India. Tipi is just inside Arunachal Pradesh on this road and is situated as the country's biggest orchid research center. The northeastern region of India is home to hundreds of orchids, and Arunachal Pradesh alone is the natural home for about 550 species of orchids, which are found in various climatic conditions, ranging from the warm foothills to the snow-clad peaks of the Himalayas. While all the orchids of Arunachal Pradesh are yet to be identified and named, many of the identified orchids here are of both ornamental as well as commercial value. The Orchid Research Center at Tipi, which was formally set up in the year 1984, is part of the State Forest Research Institute of Arunachal Pradesh. This center has been actively engaged in propagation of rare, endangered, and ornamental orchids through modern biotechnology for the purpose of their conservation as well as commercialization. Orchids are legally protected under provisions of the Wildlife Protection Act. Here, application of biotechnology for mass propagation from seeds and tissues is the only means of increasing their number, both for conservation as well as commercial purposes. Scientists at TP carry out various kinds of research on various species of orchids. They have also taken up tissue culture on a massive scale. Scientists have also been able to motivate a large number of private farmers to take up orchid cultivation as an income-generating activity across Arunachal Pradesh. Scientists here have so far identified over 550 orchid species in Arunachal Pradesh. 20 of them are said to be endemic only to this state. 30 species which were hitherto unknown have been also discovered by the scientists here since the establishment of this Orchid Research Center. Construction of roads in Arunachal Pradesh has been a rather challenging activity. The mountains are steep and require extremely winding roads that give a swirling feeling to ordinary travelers like us. For us, first-time travelers on a mountain road was very frightening because of the quick ascents and blind bends that only expert drivers could negotiate properly. The roads, however, looked wonderful from a distance, with their serpentine shapes providing a lot of thrill and feast for the eye. Road construction in this part of the country is very difficult and a highly professional and technical job, which is constructed and maintained by the Border Roads Organization. Our next stopover is Bondola, a delightful stopover indeed, which is also the headquarters of the West Kameng district, located at a height ranging from 2,430 meters to 2,700 meters above sea level. Bondola is a sacred place for the Tantric Buddhists. It's a township which gets a lot of snowfall during the winter months and also gets a lot of tourists. It is also the most important stopover during the journey up to Tawang, and the local people thrive on the transit tourists. The local tribes that inhabit this town, as well as the surrounding areas in West Kameng, are called the Monpas and Shwedukpens, both of which are, by and large, Buddhists by faith. And like most other states of the northeastern region, you will find it is the women folk who are dominating the local economic activity here. The Mopa and Sherdukpen women are almost everywhere, selling vegetables to running grocery stores and everything else. Bondola is also one place where we get bamboo and cane furniture beautifully crafted by the local tribesmen. Buddhism is all-pervading in and around Bondola. and lamas or monks in their typical dresses are visible all around. There are a couple of gompas here, which are not just places of worship for the Buddhists, but also rich repositories of knowledge, as well as of masterpieces of Himalayan Buddhist craftsmanship. The architecture of these gompas is typically Tibetan, which is also visible in architecture everywhere else in this part of Arunachal Pradesh. Inside the gompas are huge statues of Lord Buddha in his various incarnations. Some of these statues are of gold and some of other metals, including bell metal, all draped in intricately embroidered cloth, most of which again are of silk that is available only in the northeast region. Pictures of the Dalai Lama, dating back to his young age, also adorn the gompas. Dalai Lama, it may be recalled, had made his great escape through this town way back in 1958 after Tibet had begun becoming a part of China. The Himalayan Dragon heavily dominates these designs and motifs, which is also typically visible in almost every work of art or craft in the Kameng region of Arunachal Pradesh. And around the gompas are several short ends, burial places of lamas, which are shaped like stupas, so typical of Buddhism anywhere in the world. And as they live in peace, they also lie in their afterlife in this gompa. Our journey continues, leaving beautiful Bondola behind. And as we take the winding mountain road up into the lap of the Himalayas, we come across and arrive at Dirang, a small town between Bondola and Tawang, which is a vital stopover during the steep climb on the eastern Himalayas. Young boys who have chosen the life of lamas are a common sight here. Dirang also has the National Research Center for the Yak. Dr. Bhupen Hazarika had narrated a very interesting anecdote with reference to the late Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, who was accompanied by the late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, his daughter. A village headman had fallen in love with Indiraji and proposed marriage to her. Jawaharlal Nehru, known for his kindness, said to him, "What would the headman give in dowry?" And he replied, 100 yaks. That proved his authority. And Jawaharlal Nehru said, "I'm so happy to take your offer to marry my daughter, but I'm sorry, I can't carry 100 yaks in the helicopter, which I'm going back in, because we have only 2 seats." And gently, the great philosopher Prime Minister declined the village headman, not hurting his feelings. The Sherdukpens and Monpas are experts in creating huge masks of animals which are used during dances performed in various festivals that they observe during different periods of the year. The masks may be typically Tibetan and Himalayan, but scholars also find close links between these masks and the Garuda mask of the great Pan-Asian mystical entity. It is important to recall that the Garuda entity cuts across both Hinduism and Buddhism across Asia, thus reminding us of the close links of the communities across the great subcontinent Bharatvarsh.
सजना चले कहाँ तुम विनती करी तेरी पाँव पड़े तोरे कितना